coup. Falana issues fresh warning to federal government. Now, wow. So what warning is Femi Falana issuing to government now concerning military coup? So we need to understand without preempting. Let's go into detail. Human rights lawyer Femi Falana's son has warned the federal government and the political class to be careful not to provoke Nigerians to mutiny. Okay, Falana on Thursday in Abuja during the national symposium organized by the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) with the theme Nigeria Economy and the Crisis of Survival. Robbing the poor to pay the rich, had said government officials should mind how they spend extravagantly to avoid annoying the citizen. He said while the government has told Nigerians to brace up for the economic hardship, its officials are lavishing money, noting that as long as figures of extravagant spending by the National Assembly continue to be churned out, Nigerians will be irritated and so will be enemies of democracy. Falana's warning was against the backdrop of the recent coup wave in Africa, the latest of which is in Gabon and the Niger Republic. Okay, he attributed the recent trend of military juntas in Africa, especially the Gabon case, to several factors such as the ruthless exploitation of African countries' mineral resources by the West. Okay, third term syndrome, political manipulation of the constitution, and the establishment of foreign military bases in African nations. So he submitted that they must be careful not to provoke Nigerians to mutiny. Some of the things going on in National Assembly shows that we are in trouble. 70 billion naira for palliatives for 469 people. And when we said no, they claimed it was for the facelift of the National Assembly. 3 years ago, 37 billion naira was earmarked for the facelift of the National Assembly. That contract has not been fully executed, and there is no renewal of the contract. So you cannot talk about 70 billion for facelift again. Exactly. Secondly, 40 billion naira to buy exotic cars now for the leadership of the National Assembly is not going to be allowed. The latest provocative news from the National Assembly is that 54 billion naira has been earmarked for constituency projects for 360 members of the House of Reps. It has come to 150 million per person under this austere condition of the country. So when these figures are oozing out of the National Assembly, Nigerians are being provoked and enemies of democracy are being provoked. So the military has been honest to say that they are under pressure to dismantle this rickety political system. But someone told them to go and deny it. Okay? And they came out and denied it. But we can read between the lines. We can't gather here to talk about democracy that is under threat. The immediate causes of coup in Africa today are third-term syndromes, manipulation of constitution, and military bases. Today, America has 269 military bases in Africa. France has 15. Soldiers are protesting because numbers of these foreign bases are receiving salaries as if they are in their country. So the soldiers are protesting the preferential treatment between them and these foreign troops. So we must look at that. The remote causes are the ruthless exploitation of the mineral resources of our country by Western countries. The people are getting poorer. So the poor are asked to tighten their belt even when they are dying. We may be there discussing democracy. Democracy is under threat in Africa. Falana issues fresh warning to federal government about coup. Okay, human rights lawyer Falana has issued all of these warnings. So the problem now is that he has explained the whole thing. NLC organized a symposium, and that is where Falana passed all this message to Nigerians and to the government specifically. Because the government is saying people should tighten their belt. Meanwhile, they are helping to plunder the resources of Nigeria. Look at the amount of money going to National Assembly, both the Senate and the House of Rep together. Okay, and they keep churning out this money they are taking You can imagine 70 billion as palliative for 469 people in the Senate. Meanwhile, they are giving 5 billion to each state to go and share palliative for millions of people in each of those states. Can you see the difference, the ratio? Eh? Are they first class citizens? Are they better or more important than the citizens that are represented at the National Assembly? This is a very bad situation that we are seeing in Nigeria. A very bad trend we are seeing. So you are saying there shouldn't be coup. What is causing coup in West African countries? You should know. Okay? Third syndrome, plenty of foreign military bases in Africa, and again, exploitation of African mineral resources for the Western world use, and again, politicians' greed in Africa, and they're perpetuating themselves in power at the same time manipulating political manipulation of the constitution to suit themselves in power. So there are a lot of things that are happening. So you cannot blame the military coup completely. There is something about democracy in Africa that is not working that the militaries seem to try to correct by staging those coups, because it is getting so too much. You can imagine somebody that has been in power in Gabon. Okay, the Omar Bongo ruled for years and handed over to his son Ali Bongo, and altogether both father and son have spent almost 54 years in power. We have the Yedemas of Togo, and they are still there. How can you explain that? Eh? How can you explain that? The same thing has happened in other African countries. And these people, AU is not saying anything, ECOWAS is not saying anything about all those people that are elongating themselves in power. They don't see it as a democratic coup. But when the military takes over, they see it as military coup. And what is the difference? When you manipulate the Electoral Act to rig yourself to power, is that not a coup? Whether a democratic coup or a military coup, coup is coup. Okay, and what Falana is trying to warn government is not to provoke Nigerians to a point of mutiny. Because when that time comes, it's not going to be easy. They're not going to be able to manage it. It's going to be so terrible that everybody will scamper for safety. That is the way it's going to be. So the government should be warned, and they should know that they are testing the patience of Nigerians. You cannot tell Nigerians to tighten their belt. Meanwhile, embezzlement is going on up there. Okay, how can you earmark 70 billion for yourselves and you're nothing for the citizens? And then when they are caught now, they say they want to use it to do facelift. And meanwhile, they have taken almost over 30 billion about 3 years ago for the same facelift on National Assembly. What face are they lifting there? What are they doing there? At the end of the day, they loot all this money, and the projects are not completed and they are not accounted for, and then they will ask for another money. They are just allocating the money to themselves. That is very bad. A time will come, all these things will stop. Falana has warned, and the military is saying they are not part of coup. Part of them are also saying that they are under pressure to dismantle this democratic system that is not working for us. But some of them have come out to deny because they have been asked to do so. That is their own. Only God knows what is going in the mind of the military, because the military is also not happy with what is going on in Nigeria as I speak. Even though they are not saying it out, only God knows what could be going on the ground. Thank you for listening, and let's have your call.